When you look at the night sky, what do you think of? When I look at the night sky, I often think of stars, my place in the universe, all sorts of different things. Sometimes when a plane goes overhead, I think, why can't I be on vacation? But when, in reality, in other parts of the world, when people look at the sky at night or even in the daytime, they're thinking of something completely different. They're thinking of drones. Drones have a very mixed message in society these days. Their usage has increased a lot, and it's important to recognize that because their usage is increasing a lot, so is the controversy. Therefore, whether you agree or disagree with the use of drones, it's important to recognize that they have more of an importance in society and they should matter more to you. In order to truly understand why drones should matter to you, we need to look at the history of drones to really understand how they've come into prevalence in society today. The first drones actually started in World War I with with attempts to control planes through radio use. They failed and they were really just unsuccessful for another 50 or 60 years, but they did prove the point that there were early attempts to get things flying in the air that you didn't have to have people in. The true development of drones started in the 1970s in Israel. When you hear about Apple starting in a garage, drones actually started in a garage in Israel with early prototypes being developed for automated flight. And they were eventually bought up by the military, and slowly they were spread around the world. Today, countries such as Iran have started to become familiar with drone use. And if you look at recent CNN articles and things like that, you've seen attempts by North Korea and other nations that the U.S. doesn't consider necessarily friendly to acquire drones. For many years, drones were used primarily for surveillance purposes. As in fact, there's a lot of recent articles have been talking about how, particularly with CNN and things like that, they've referenced that the Obama administration has eliminated 4 times as many enemies as the Bush administration through the use of drones. Now, it's important to recognize that this isn't necessarily a political thing against the Obama administration. This is pointing out that during the Bush administration, drones were just not seen as effective of a tool for eliminating enemies in the United States, so they could have eliminated enemies in a similar manner, just not using drones. So it is important to recognize that drone use has increased recently in society. It's also important to recognize that for many years, drones were only used for surveillance purposes because the idea of putting a missile on a flying thing that you can't have someone directly control was very risky. But whether you agree or disagree with drones use, it's important to recognize that they are transferring more and more into your lives. Recently, there have been articles talking about how the British government killed a citizen in the Middle East suspected of being a terrorist. They had credible information that he was a terrorist, and so they killed him. The United States is believed to also have done similar things. And there's a significant controversy over whether that violated rights that all Americans have and whether it was considered legal to kill them. On the other hand, there's been the perspective that they would have eliminated these people anyway, but they didn't have to put human lives at risk. Either way, it proves that drones are an emerging thing in the dialogue of international society. In our civilian life, drones are being used more and more in things like science to test weather patterns and emerging storms, and there have even been attempts by corporations to get shipping and other things through drone use. So you might be thinking, oh, that's great, I got my package earlier. But some people see it as a violation of their privacy, and they may destroy the drones. This has increased it's gone from just strictly a military matter into the civilian world. And it's important to recognize that there's more and more controversy the more these things come into play. There were recent stories in the New York Times about how people in Missouri were shooting down drones because they felt like they were stalking their children or something and they were flying around their house. There have been lawsuits over this, and it's a significant amount of controversy. So whether you agree or you disagree with the use of drones, it's important to recognize that in society they are becoming more prevalent and therefore they should matter to you.